human being, in your relationships. The relationships is your love life, your professional life. It's just not past. It's the Gen Zs. They've just shown me that mediocrity is not what they are interested in. So power to every single Gen Z in the room or online. Thank you so much for the power of no nonsense. It ain't good enough. I don't want it. I'll stand up for it. You went to school. We paid your fees, and it's showing. So I talk about that because my generation are not like you guys. We're a bit more safe. Even when it's tough, we just go through it. No need for it, but we do it. So I think what the Gen Zs have shown us in the last month is exactly my topic. It's about having a growth mindset. It's not being okay with the status quo and then deciding. So instead of complaining quietly at home with your family and your friends in the bar, we're going to do something about it. That's called a growth mindset. Can we give a round of applause to every Gen Z here? It is quite incredible to do what you've done. Let me start by talking about 10 attributes of a great leader. My first boss, I talked about it last time, my first boss is on your panel today and was on your panel last time, Mike Eldon. Straight out of campus, I was 20 and a half years old, University of Nairobi, graduated in economics, and my first boss was Mike Eldon. And I think for the rest of my journey, Mike Eldon is still my bar, because he didn't do mediocrity, he threw me into it. I was scared, I was nervous. I remember Sarit Center, that's where the office was at the top. And he kept saying, well, if you don't know what to do, why don't you read about what to do and then do it? So that's how I started my career as a young girl. He is quite the phenomenal guy, and he still stays for me as one of life's great leaders. So 10 attributes, which you're going to write because it's not coming up on the screen. 10 attributes of a great leader, not a good leader, not an average leader, not the word leader, no, great leader. Curiosity. A great leader is always curious. And we don't talk about that enough. When I talk about curiosity, I reference not wanting life to be the way it is. So you're always curious, like, what else can I do? What does this mean? What impact does this have on me, my team, my community, my country, the world? So great leaders are curious. Great leaders have empathy. We know what empathy is. A general care for others before they care for themselves. How does my team feel? As I stand here, I'm thinking, how does my audience feel? Are they with me? I look and I concentrate on people's faces. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are there things on their mind? You can tell when you're standing here. A general sense of empathy for your girlfriend, for your boyfriend, for your husband, your wife, your lovers. General sense of empathy for community, for country. Great leaders. We talk about great leaders. Another thing for great leaders is they're always interested in the outcome. So when I do this presentation, I'm curious, will they understand me? Will the impact of what I talk about resonate? Will the outcome be substantive? Because remember, we don't do mediocrity. So it's always important to know, why am I doing what I'm doing? In organizations, you will find, especially the young ones who haven't started working, the guys on campus, and even those who are in entrepreneurial spaces, your staff might not know why they're doing what they're doing. The receptionist knows her job. Let's talk about this hotel. The receptionist knows her job. Security knows his job. The event management team know their job. The F&B, food and beverage guys, know their jobs. Silos, so they know what to do in their spaces. But do they know what Radisson Arboretum wants to achieve today? You know, it's always making sure that the outcome of what you want is known to your whole team. Otherwise, it doesn't resonate. Let me do another one. Bringing the whole team in. So for people to know the outcome of what you want, the whole team has to be on board with what we're doing. Right at the beginning, Fiona and Cornelius were telling us about, reminding us again about Confidence Elevates. Why we are here every year for the 5th year, 6th, and what it is you want to achieve out of us at the end of this meeting. Another attribute, communication. They talked to us, they explained themselves. We now know, we're all on the same page. They're looking for a more energetic room, that was clear. So I'm going to hope to elicit more of that energy. But communication, great leadership. Who am I going to remember? The lady in pink. What's your name, honey? Who? First name? Zalina. Zalina, how many have I covered? The one before that? Okay, the one before that? The one before that? And the first one? Okay, thank you. This is me trying to bring the whole team on board. Well done. Okay, we move on. Great leaders fear. Fear is real in leadership. And if you don't fear, you're not leading. I'm coming to a presentation. I do presentations all the time. This is my space, conference moderating and speaking. I must fear. You must fear. There's no point being so casual and relaxed and thinking you've got it. Great leaders fear. We fear even when we think we're excellent. We always know there's another level, because mediocrity we don't do. So if you don't fear your job, it's time to move. If you don't fear your degree, it's time to shift. Fear is important. And we'll talk about that later when we're talking about how we were raised in our culture, and fear was not discussed. It was lazima uvumilie, ujikaze. I don't know what, kiume, ujikaze kiume or something like that, yeah? We were told to be tough. We're not told to fear. You must fear in life, in relationships. I do talk about your personal lives as I talk about your professional lives. You must fear. I might lose her. I might lose him. There must be an element of fear. Fear is important. It's a catalyst to make us think and to do better. So the reason you have to fear is because it triggers the next level of what you need to do. Creates resilience and adaptability. Isn't it unusual to be told great leaders fear? Yeah, great leaders fear. Where I met lovely Enoch, who said he likes me and I like you too, I was running a ministry in Kisumu County, and I'd never done government, one. Two, I'd not been in Kenya for a few decades. I feared. And yet I was a waziri. They call them CECs. You're being called honorable, you're being called Mahesh, you've got all the power and the space that job commands, but you must fear. You fear the citizens because you're serving. It's their money that pays your salary, that keeps you going. You must have an element of fear for your boss. Am I delivering to the KPIs, key performance indicators that he's given? Yeah, so I remember thinking, and then I was in Kisumu, I'm Luo, but did not speak my language. Typical born in Nairobi, raised in Nairobi kid. So now I was in this job. And Luos are Luos. They're excessive, they're noisy, they're opinionated, they have things to say. And my time with them, I realized, oh, that's why I'm how I am. Because now I was with all of them. I was like, yeah, no wonder I am opinionated, excessive, well-groomed, well-educated, we dress well. You know when you know who you are? Yeah, Kisumu taught me that. Those guys are on steroids. It was fantastic. And it was tough. So how I met Enoch was his father looked after me in terms of my driver, my head of security, and this man gave me structure and order. And I became a phenomenal minister because of him. He'd been in government forever. He knew the ropes. And I didn't. And I was kind of looked like a kid, and people think that you don't know, and you don't know, because remember, fear is a real thing. And this gentleman was just, you know, he'd come and pick me up in the morning, and he'd say, I'd tell him, please call me Achie. He could not. Government people, they call you by your title. And I would say, please, please, please call me. No. And then I would say, so how is Kisumu today? And he'd give you a quick brief, general, you know, surakazi. And then I say, and how am I going to do today? Itakuwa ngumu leo. Ni kama hujapanga, naona kwa social media, ABCD. And I haven't even reached the office. I'll be like, okay, asante, asante. And yeah, an amazing man. He looked after me so well. And so I gift back to him by educating his fantastic son. And I make sure that he goes to uni, on to his master's and whatever. Because if his dad had not looked after me, I wouldn't have been the girl that I am. Thank you, Enoch. And you're doing, and this guy, I tell you, when I look after you, I want your report form, I want to see your grades. Remember, I don't do mediocrity. We do mentorship. I sit down. Are you late? No, you're. These days, this guy. So we have a love thing going on there. I am his mommy. That's so sweet. Thank you. All right. How many have I done? We compartmentalize. Great leaders compartmentalize their time. What does that mean? It means even when I'm doing, let's say, that job at the county, it's full on. Your phone doesn't go off. I had to talk to my boss, Governor Nyong'o, at the time and tell him, Governor, I don't have my phone on between 11 and 6. His thing to me was, why? I said, well, I need to sleep. He says, no, you can't sleep on public money. You stay awake. You turn on your phone. I'll find you at any time. And I was firm. You will not find me between 11 and 6, Governor. Unless the earth has cracked in the middle and we are dying, you will not find me. So again, trying to be firm about your own time so that you can manage the rest of your corporate time and your experience. It was very important, and I survived it. And he used to get very agitated because he wakes up at 4, goes to sleep at midnight. Now, who are those people? Great leaders. Achie clearly didn't want to do that one. So compartmentalizing your time. Great leaders see quickly what they cannot change. You're going through, let's say we're going through this Gen Z uprising revolution. The guys were recalibrating pretty much on a per 2-hourly basis. You know, you think that the rest of millennials and up older, we think we're on it, but if you weren't online for 4 hours, you found that the country had shifted and you were not on it. And so leaders need to see quickly what they cannot change. Oftentimes, so I lived abroad forever, working in that corporate space. I currently live in Cairo, in Egypt. And in general, that's what makes life, for me, a growth mindset. Because I see early that this is a disaster, this isn't going to work. Instead of what I used to do before, and many of us do it, trying to make sure it works, laboring at it. No, this must work. It must, no. See quickly what you cannot change so that you can shift your lens to something else. Karibu. Where can she sit? Okay. My lovely lady in pink again. Have I done 10? 9. Okay. Thank you. And the last one is, for great leaders, failure is part of success. And fail you will. It's not, oh my God, I failed, now the world has come to an end. No, failure is part of success. Many times in the county, I would do initiatives that I think are amazing and fantastic and strong, and they're going to revolutionize my people and that particular sector. And then you find, there's a seat here, ma'am. And then you find you've got to change tact. You've got to see quickly what you cannot change. And sometimes it failed. And sometimes the public would come for your blood on social media, and you had to be strong and cope with it, a thick skin. That's it. That's what great leaders do. I think the biggest one that people never know is great leaders are curious. Oh, I'll add you one more. Great leaders are interesting and interested. They're interesting people. And if they're not interesting, by the way, that's a classification of not a great leader. They must be interesting and interested. Interested in the world, interested in you, interested in the environment they're working in. Interested and interesting. They must make you be curious about them. That's what I mean by interesting. A great leader is interesting. Obama, to me, was an interesting guy. Did I tell you I met him? No, I didn't. But because I'm from Kisumu County, of course I'm going to tell you I met him. 2 times. Once was, I have a cousin who's married to that family. She's called Obama. And so he was a senator. Long short, I lived in Amsterdam. She and Mama Sarah were traveling for his inauguration. And at Schiphol, which is the airport in Holland, their flight was delayed by 10 hours. So I lived there. She got in touch. Mama Sarah and my cousin Maggie came, spent some time with us for the day. But remember, she's just a granny, and this is my cousin, and there's this guy in America who's going to be a senator. I did not see quickly, but I was very nice to them. I looked after them, and then they left in the evening, and they went. when it was time for him to be president and to be sworn in, that Mama Sarah said, what about that lovely, apparently, that lovely lady we met in Amsterdam? I would like to invite her for the inauguration. And that's how hubby and I went for his inauguration. Whew. Be nice to people. I was good to her. I was so grateful she remembered us, and we went for his inauguration. There was one of the dinners for the family. He came, but so many people. We didn't see him. I mean, you see him, but you don't see him. I remember when the embassy came to our house in Holland to give us the invitation card, formally, those guys and the whole salute thing, and I'm in my track bottoms looking very not leaderly. As a mommy looking after little babies, and yeah, that's how we went. Second time I met him was here in Kisumu in my job as tourism. We receive dignitaries. That's our job. You go to the runway, off the aircraft. It'll be you mostly, or you and your governor. So we met him then. He's taller and cuter than any of you ladies think. Where? Great guy. All right, let's see if I can get into my presentation now. Last time I overrun. I started at 1:45, so I've got 20 minutes. No, I've got 45 minutes, don't I? I shall use it well. What is a mindset? Our mindset is made up of our beliefs, our ideas, and our attitudes. Thinking about our mindset can help us when we do things, especially when we face a challenge. So mindset is about your attitude, your ethos, what you stand for, your beliefs and your approach. I just like that cute cartoon. It took me a long time to put it on this presentation because I'm not very techie. What is it? It's the way we do what we do. So how we were raised dictates a lot about how we are. No, I'm a Kenyan and this is how we do things here. This is what you tell foreigners when they come in to the country. This is how guys tell girls. No. As a guy, this is how we roll. So we're going to be maybe drinking too much, or we don't really care for the girl, or whatever the issue is. We have that's how we start sentences. It is called a fixed mindset, if this is how you operate. As a JQ Art student, this is how we do what we do. I'm from University of Nairobi. There's a thing, there's a way we think we are the coolest things on two legs, and we really do believe we are. We call each other comrades. So there's a way UN guys do their things, there's a way any university student does their thing. Fixed mindset. Here's another. But this is what we were taught, the educational system in Kenya. The educational system in Kenya did not introduce creativity into our thinking, unless it's changed with CBC? I don't know. But in my different countries that I've lived abroad, I realize that my educational system is robust. When I say robust, I mean it is unusual to find a daft Kenyan. I don't think it exists. We are very, very, very academically astute. I know people don't like the 844 system and the what, but living out there, you can see it works. I'll give you a story in a second. So this is what we were taught also involves our culture. We are Kikuyus, and this is what we do. We are from the coast, tunaifanya hivi, never allowing yourself to shift. Our educational system didn't teach us to think differently. I remember when my kid was maybe 6, standard 1, and that story of, I don't know, Mary had a little lamb. Remember that cartoony, rhymey thing? So Mary had a little lamb, and I was taking the kid through it in the evening. You have to do homework with your kid, and we got to the end of it, and I remember my daughter asking me, but what if she didn't have a lamb? What if it was a cow? And there I am, Kenyan educated, very sharp mother, telling her, no, it is a lamb. She says, yeah, but it could have been a cow, it could have been a deer, it could have been a goat. Her little brother saying, it could have been a chicken. But I don't know how to think like that because Mary had a little lamb. I was taught that in school in Kenya. We were taught copy and paste to get the A grade, wasn't it? Copy and paste. Then I arrived in Europe, first job in advertising, and oh my God, I was clever here when I was doing the job in Kenya. Same company transferred to London. And I realized they don't do it that way. I'm supposed to think outside the box. I was raised in Kenya. Our educational system taught me there is a box, you are in it, and this is how we do it. Don't try and deviate. A fixed mindset is disruptive. It doesn't allow for innovation. We will talk about that. As an upcoming entrepreneur, there were entrepreneurs who introduced themselves here, Mama Peanut, I remember. And as an upcoming entrepreneur, it's always done like this. In the peanut business, here in Kibera, tunaifanya hivi. And that's it. And we don't want to change. And we must. In this company, this is how we operate, Telcom. Maybe Fiona was talking about it, works in Telcom, Kenya. So the way they do it is the way they do it. Now you were educated in Kenya. The corporate guys in France have told you this is the way it's done. And you don't question, because that's not how we were taught. So the driving force in the quest for success and achievement is shifting your mindset, an attitude and focus to life that combines discipline, ambition, strength, and confidence. It is about focus. So long as your goal is clear to you, if the fixed mindset can get you there, great and good. It is unlikely to. So you must be able to be agile and allow yourself to move accordingly so that life is not too tough. And it gets tough because we don't change our mindset. Fixed mindset, I want to talk about that. Our culture, is there a screen there? Yeah. Our culture taught us not to ask questions at home, not to be too loud at home, isn't it? Wacheni kelele, go outside and play. You're making too much noise. Daddy and mommy are talking. Visitors are here. Achie, we were like, we're not supposed to be in our parents' house, yet they produced us. That's how our African culture is. All cultures in Africa, I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. When I'm in Europe, I mix with all of them. Same script. So long as you've got black skin, this is how we were raised. Shh, you're making noise. Turn the TV down. Stop making noise. Go do your homework. We're just chased away. So our culture didn't allow for innovation and change. And there's no problem. That's just how the African culture was. Our parents, same thing. Educational system, I talked about it, didn't allow us to think outside the box. And how they prepared us in this thing called the fixed mindset is that anytime you want to do something different, you feel a sense of guilt. I can't go against my people. What would my parents think or feel or say? And then intelligence, what we're taught in school, we know it as static. It's just the way we were taught, and that's the way it is. And it isn't. In the fixed mindset, this space is quite draining because it doesn't allow you flexibility to think, to be. How your mom is not necessarily how the daughter wants to be. How the son is not necessarily how the father, the son doesn't necessarily want to be like his dad. Yeah? So it's a draining space. At the top there, I talk about failure is permanent. When you're in a fixed mindset and you don't get A, you think you failed. Meanwhile, living in Europe, I found that C guys are winging it. They're loving it. Their parents consider that they've done well. There's no sense of guilt. Ours was about excellence. And if you're not excellent and perfect, you would fail. You are considered a failure. Does that make sense? Or is it only in my family? I think we're just the same. We were really raised quite tough, and it was really about academia and passing and being amazing. Very fixed. Effort is time wasting, you don't want to overexert yourself. Oh, if I do it, what for? Gen Zs are feeling a bit deflated, or maybe not. They've done a lot of work for a month and they're feeling, but then they're Gen Z, so they're not like us. They think totally different. Maybe they're deflated for 10 minutes and they're going to move on. Challenge is exhausting. People don't want to put rigor into trying different things. Again, we were not, your formative years when you're young, those are generally how you will be wired for life. And then you find that you meet people from different nationalities and they were raised differently, and now you'll clash because they don't succumb to this. Shortcuts is the way out. Nobody wants to give it a good effort. Feedback is criticism. In school, the teacher tells us, you'll never amount to anything. Well, make, you'll be useless. Those kind of comments. Or family, or headmistress, headmaster. There were those things. I swear, the black child. The fact that we're alive and breathing fascinates me, because I tell you, white people have a totally different space. But we're still standing. We're threatened by others. It's kind of that feeling, Nani is doing better than me. There's that general feeling. Instead of what I see out there is, or I see how my kids are different from us, so we've had to catch up with them. It would fascinate you as a parent. You're watching your kids saying, I got an A minus? Because remember also, the kid is Luo, so of course A is still the game here. Don't get confused. A minus? What the hell? Emily got A? They have that, I wonder how she did it. That's her thinking. That's the way I'd hear the comments. oh, I must spend a little time with her and see how she did it. I'm from Africa. Mine would be, Achie, she must have cheated. No way she could have got an A. You know, we're threatened by the other, if I may call it. So drainers are depleting, staying in that fixed mentality. It subtracts from you because there's so much more of you, but it's not being allowed to come through. I'll never be great. I can't do this. I won't try. I shouldn't go. Our attitude. Fixed mindset is locked. A growth mindset obviously is like a plant. It has movement. It changes and it blossoms. Let me go into growth mindset. Remember we talked about culture. A growth mindset allows other people's culture to come into our space. So we're able to embrace other ways of thinking. Social media, the mobile phone, that allows us also to see how other people do life. So we're able to adapt quicker. We're like, oh, for example, I talk a lot about the current situation in Kenya because all of us are in it. The picture of the young male during the Gen Z uprising standing on a street lamp. Do you remember that? With his hands out. Like that. Do you remember that picture? That picture has been put, did you know, into photograph of the year internationally. And it is when a picture is tweeted too many times or reposted or whatever, the people who organize these type of events, photography of the year, then pick it and put it in their portfolio. So that particular photo is there. It is because the people who trended that photo wasn't us. It was the Brazilians who were supporting the Gen Zs. I think are just a universal tribe. They are just them. It's about their age, not about their country. And it was the Brazilians who kept posting it because they have an iconic picture of, I think it's called Christ is Risen, or Christ something, yeah? The Redeemer, yes. There's a picture like that. One of the world's largest sculptures in Brazil is that sort of shot. Christ like this. So it was the Brazilians trending that thing, and then now the South Americans, and then the Africans, then it came back to us. You guys were busy fighting, so you hadn't noticed. So in the growth mindset, you are like the Brazilians are, you know, like now every country, every Gen Z around the globe was picking up and working together, new ideas, and it was all being shared. So culture now, you embrace others. The wider universe becomes your mentor. Instead of just your mother, your father, the school, your first employer, the universe is your mentor. You can get training, ideas, and thoughts from other people around the world. And then a growth mindset means you have to be streetwise. This growth mindset should come into play when you're in college and university, your first employment, your first business, and when you're doing life. You're an older person when you're in that space, starting to form your own thoughts, deciding who you want to be. Maybe you grew up in the village, now you're thinking, well, I don't want to come back to Murang'a. I want to be in Nairobi, or I want to go global, or whatever. So this is the time of curiosity. And if you miss it during this time of your life, when you're in college or just beginning life, it becomes very difficult to do it later, but not impossible. As long as I'm true to myself, as long as I retain my values, as long as I'm authentic, I will grow. These are 5 words that are fundamental for a growth mindset. It's about being agile. See quickly what you cannot change. It's about we were going in this direction as a country, and then we turned left. You were going to marry that beautiful girl, and something happened, you changed tact, and you went in a different direction. You were going to I was going to stay at Computer Application Limited with Mike Eldon, and then I decided I wanted more money, so I left. Things like that. Changing tact, agility. Interrogate, we must have rigor, always asking the why. Always ask the why. In my coming to do this presentation, I do touch base with Millie a lot, and we're trying to discuss what is it you want me to do for your audience. And I would always interrogate. Sometimes I felt like I was pushing too far, but she always received me with grace. But the whole thing is I'm inquisitive, and I don't like any event to be average. Remember, mediocrity, we don't do that. And we're always saying, I do this a lot, so I do these kind of conferences, I see this sort of different things that people are doing, and I try and bring them into my conversations with the event organizers here. Adjustments, you must adjust, just like your body changes shape. For us beautiful ladies, the waistline was 26, sometimes it gets bigger, then we bring it back. I don't know why men are smiling like I'm going to let them go. Same for you. We marry you when you're looking, cool and sexy and you've got abs, and then 3 minutes into the relationship and you're not even the one who's giving birth, you've got a pot. Like, no, we're not doing pots. I hope I'm not offending anyone, but if there's a potential pot in the making, don't let it come. So for the guys, adaptability. You must adapt. You must adapt. Kenya has adapted. In 4 weeks, what we've gone through, we've adapted. There's a new way of doing life. We will be more interrogative of our leaders. We will, the Gen Zs are ready to die for country. And Gen Zs also don't think that you are unusual in what you do. For every generation before you, when we were the Gen Zs, so to speak, I was at UN here, we were chaotic. We really were. When we weren't happy with how the vice chancellor is running the uni, or food in the cafeteria was deteriorating and whatever, or there was I remember, when leaders die or assassinated, we were also on the streets. The difference was the communication that this generation has. Tribeless, quick communication, leaderless, partyless, classless. It's a whole fantastic way of thinking. Me, I'm with you, I swear. In my other life, half of me, I'm a Gen Z. Completely a Gen Z. My kids are abroad, and at some point there, my son rings and says, "So, Mom, can you get me a Kenyan T-shirt?" I said, "For what? I always want to give you a Kenyan T-shirt to go with, and you never want to." "Mom, I have not got much time." "Okay, so get me 2 T-shirts, one for me, one for your sister, get me a flag, and get me a scarf, Kenyan." "Okay, Mom, we're doing what we're doing on Thursday." He's ringing me on Sunday, "so send it on DHL and we'll get it by Wednesday." "For sure." Then the dad is discussing with me, "Oh, I don't know, maybe the kids should not." I was like, "Hey, me, I'm with them, because I'm half Gen Z now. So we're going to buy these things." I took it to DHL, they got it on Wednesday, they did their magic, sent us photos. To tell me that we're not how you are. Movement is about growth. It is about movement. So even for ladies, let me give an example of Millie. Here's Mike. Hi, Mike. My first boss. Movement is about, even just in fashion, never saying, "This is how I dress." If the season has changed and you want to do life different, change the outfit. And I don't mean just like we have set views as girls. "Oh, I never wear orange." That's me. I never wear orange. Like, why? Why not? I never wear short skirts. I never wear trousers. There's no I never. Life is about movement. And if you're in the growth mindset, shift it. I always have my braids. I never do afros. No, change it. Gentlemen, I always wear a white shirt. No, you don't wear white shirts. You wear whatever you want to wear. I never wear blue. I never wear green. I never wear burgundy. Wear these colors. That's just to do with fashion. Change it. Spectacles. I know, Mr. Mental Health Champion, probably that is your only pair of glasses until you break it or whatever. So what I learned when I lived in Holland, 10 years I was in Holland, at any one time, you should have 5 different spectacles, because your look, your whole vibe might be different for that day, and you change it. I remember the girls in Holland telling me, "Oh, why do you have only one?" And I said, "Oh, well, I only have one face." And they said, "Well, you only have one body, but every time we see you, you've got a new outfit. So just change. You can." Fixed mindset, no. After my presentation, growth mindset, yes. Different ones, different colors, different anything. Because, of course, I grew up in Kenya. You buy one pair of specs, it costs a lot of money, your parents have paid for it, and until it breaks into 2 pieces, we never used to leave them. So, movement, important. Onions, we know, we grew up with it. We're from Kenya in every dish, and then you evolve into Nairobi life, and maybe you can have grapes. Just change your mindset. Kenya Airways, our national carrier, is actually my favorite airline, and I travel a lot. And people look at me very sadly when I say that. KQ, business class, seat number 4F, that's where I sit. And then there's the opportunity to fly, and then there's this version. Aircrafts that have 2 floors. Do we know that? Okay, the guys who are young and have not gotten to, I don't know, 2 floors, 3 floors, 4 floors. That's the version. Aircrafts that have 2 floors. Do we know that? Okay, the guys who are young and have not gotten to, I don't know, 2 floors, 3 floors, 4 floors. That's the version. corporate life. Did you know aircrafts these days, they're called the Airbus. I think this is an A380. For all normal airlines, international flights, you board, you check in 3 hours before departure. For these big animals, you check in 6 hours before, because they've got to move 540 people into this aircraft. They've got 5 doors open. There's an upstairs and a downstairs. When you're inside the aircraft, it's amazing. You can go downstairs and see I don't know what. You can sit in the restaurant upstairs. It's a whole different vibe, growth mindset. So for those who have never traveled, there must be some. There is Safari Link, Renegade, you know, the small one at Wilson. Then there's moving on to the KQs and any other. And then even then you start to choose which aircraft. So people like Achie decide, oh, I'm going to X. I even choose the not the airline. The airline might be Emirates, but I'm choosing the carrier. You know, levels, growth. Don't worry. Remember I was a kid like you young guys and girls, here at UON, with this big desire to travel. So I'm telling you about growth and how life changes. Open your world. Don't be limited. It's just a whole amazing world out there. And Gen Zs have taught us. I keep talking about Gen Zs. You can see I'm a bit enamored with them. This is, you know how we have the SGR in Kenya? Where do you think this one is? Japan. I've heard Japan. What do you think? Any offers on this side? Gentleman in green. Where do you think that? Give me a country. France. Okay, clearly you guys are underestimating your neighbors. This is Tanzania. They've just launched their new bullet train. Cheaper than the SGR. Goes the whole breadth of the country. I will say no more. So, growth mindset. I like food, clearly. These are not our regular fruit. So again, growth mindset, where you're at the Radisson, so you're going to see some nice things on the table. But this is what a growth mindset enables. It allows you to explore. It allows you to redefine. It allows you to recalibrate. You don't have to be fixed. Remember, our culture, our parents, our educational system, we're done with them in that regard. Embracing change globally, locally, classless, tribeless, da-da-da-da-da. Embracing movement, being agile. Accepting that we're different and accepting differences. We relearn whatever we learn. Mary had a little lamb, could have been a chicken. We re-strategize. It didn't work this way and I want to try it this way. We reinvent. If the peanut business doesn't work or you want to scale it up, you will reinvent what you do with it. And then we practice that new level that we've moved into. So we go like this in life, then we do that for a season, then it gets a bit boring and you do that, and you keep doing that, and like that, and like that. Does it make sense? Like this, plateau, this, plateau, this. The minute the plateau lasts more than 3 years, you have a problem. I'm not talking about the relationship. Hopefully you're in a committed relationship. It's going to last a minute. So not that. I'm talking about your job, your career, university, entrepreneurship. Even the fact that Confidence Elevate is on its 6th year. Every year it changes. So it's about movement. Remember the 5 words. We interrogate where we are when we're at the plateau space. When life is okay, we're happy with our business, with our life. But then you start getting a bit restless. Human nature, because you're not an animal. Well, humans are animals, but you know what I mean? Humans have the ability to interrogate, to refresh, to rejuvenate. So always allow yourselves access to these words. When hubby or girlfriend, boyfriend says, but this is how we do it, you're going to be like, I went to the Radisson and I learned about the growth mindset. We don't have to do it that way. So in the growth space, this is a place, remember the other one was drainers. These are radiators when you're in the growth mindset. If you don't have a partner, find a partner that falls under this category. For those who have partners, let's reignite our current partners so that they fall into this mindset. They need to be radiators, somebody that makes you feel fabulous, somebody that makes the home feel fun, that makes the job be a bubbly space to be in. Here we challenge. Challenges are opportunities, I'm sorry. A challenge comes up, but we see it as an opportunity. Failure isn't the end. It's a learning experience. I didn't make it that time, so now what do I do? Effort is the path to mastery. Did I say that right? Yes. And the other one we were saying, effort is time wasting. So here we're changing. Foster a passion for continuous learning. That's why you're in the room today. And in general, just life has to be about movement. It has to be agile. We have to adapt. We have to adjust. So we have to foster a passion for continuous learning. I just taught you about photograph of the year, for example. People don't like feedback. We talked about that under the other slide, under drainers. Here we're saying people critique you. It's not criticism. Appreciate constructive feedback. Under the critiquing, the best way to critique anybody's presentation or something somebody's doing, we call it the sandwich approach. You come, let's say I do this presentation and you think it was wanting in some way. Wanting means it didn't deliver to what you want or you expected. You would say, Achie, that was a great presentation. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We could do more around the space of maybe your PowerPoint presentation was boring. Next time, give us an AI-generated version, which I do too, you know. But yeah, your presentation was great. Thank you so much. Sandwich approach. You gave me a compliment. You gave me area for feedback. You critiqued my work. And then you gave me a positive feedback at the end. Better to do it that way than, oh, I thought you'd come with an AI-generated presentation. That will obviously hurt feelings. So let me move on. I am certainly giving this a try because we're in the growth space. I could be more amazing than I am. I will try this new thing that I want to do. I must go see this new innovative movie or whatever. There's an interesting one coming up on Tom Boyer, which I'm planning to watch. Theater. So radiators, they add and they embolden us. 4 mindsets. The growth one, which is the one we're talking about here. This one is about continuous learning. You always adapt, you always change, you always interrogate. The growth mindset. Here, it empowers us with the capacity to embrace change. We talked about that. Make sense? Are we good? Okay. The growth mindset, we evolve through continuous learning. We cultivate creativity. In the growth mindset, we're not stuck. So something's not working, you come up with new ideas, the creative thinking, and allowing the creative juices to flow. Oh, I'm sorry. It enables the development of innovative ideas. This is where new things come through, because you're thinking. You're at that again, after being at that for a while. And it challenges the status quo when you're in the growth mindset. So there are 4 mindset spaces. Second one is being positive. Positive mindset here, I think that should say propels us to a proactive approach during challenges. Our educational system was more reactive, I found. A situation arises and then we respond to it instead of thinking ahead. I'll give you an example. Lived in England as well. The National Health Service is what it's called. So in the United Kingdom, they've got about 60 million people. And everybody who lives in the United Kingdom is entitled to free medical. Free medical, 100%. I had children, free, I never paid. Whatever, you don't pay medicine, you just don't pay. Can you imagine? Imagine if your salary was not allocated to paying bills for health. And this is, you don't even have private insurance. This is just all the citizens have it. It's struggling at the moment, but this is the NHS. It's been there, it's been so effective. When you turn different ages, they write to you on your birthday to say, let's say when you're turning 40, they write to you, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. 60 million people. Please pop into your GP for a review of your health. That's proactive health. You would recognize, yeah? And here, nobody's writing to you nothing. You're the one who's feeling pain, and then you show up at the doctor after waiting for 2 hours to see the doctor in the reception. So they have a more proactive approach, so they try and catch diseases early so that it doesn't burden their health system and your life. Let me move on. Positive mindset. This one is about, when you're positive, you're also in gratitude. So you're also gracious to yourself. It cultivates resilience. You're tougher on yourself. You do more, but you're grateful for where you've reached in life. This positive mindset is all about gratitude. It equips you with a purpose-based perspective. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why have I come to be a speaker at this conference? What's in it for me? What do I feel I want to put across? What's my purpose? And of course, in your respective areas of discipline. Helps us extract lessons from setbacks. So instead of saying, oh my God, I failed at this, I feel down. Remember I said great leaders embrace fear. So when things don't go right, with a positive mindset, you say, okay, what's the lesson I can take out of this? It fosters inner satisfaction. It enables us to handle stress constructively until it becomes second nature. Because you keep telling yourself, so I didn't make it this time, and I'm going to try again with this new approach. And then I didn't make it that one. You try again. You just find that your mind doesn't now get locked when a problem happens. You're already thinking, oh, damn, that's happened. All right, what do we do next? So that switch happens faster. See quickly what you cannot change. Don't get stuck. That was in the fixed mindset. We're in the growth mindset. Number 3, an entrepreneurial. I talked about that because I knew we were having entrepreneurs in the room based on the correspondence from the event organizers. Having an entrepreneurial spirit allows you to be curious. Great leaders are curious. Embraces risk-taking. Our peanut sister here obviously has taken a gamble to be known as the peanut lady and what she does with it and the sauces she makes, etc. But even you and me being entrepreneurial in our jobs, your corporate job, you've got to think to make money for your organization. If you're a student, you've got to think to pay your school fees. I don't know if government pays or doesn't pay or whatever it is, or also to help your parents with your school fees. You've always got to be thinking about how to do better, how to make money, how to take risks. Promotes collaborative endeavors. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll do business with other people. So when Millie, I saw, this is how I got here. I saw her post on her page, because I follow her on Facebook. And then one day she posted this last year. And then I got in touch. And I said, hey, can I come and maybe speak to your conference, at your conference? And that's how I showed up last year. So again, looking for collaborations and hopefully offering value to that. Sharpens communication skill. Great leaders are great communicators. When you're in the entrepreneurial mindset, you are always able to, should always be able to communicate well. It makes you have strategic prowess. You're thinking all the time, what next, where next, who next. Fosters mental agility and adaptability. I think that's self-explanatory. And you always have a forward-looking mentality. A growth mindset is actually that, always having a forward-looking mentality. Challenges mindset. Isn't this the bane of our lives when problems come along? But because you've got a growth mindset, you see challenge as an opportunity. Here, it allows one to shift the lenses quickly. See quickly what you cannot change. This problem has come. Health, death, loss of a job, don't have school fees for uni, you have to drop out, or college, your employer has just sacked you. All those challenges that come. When you have a challenger's mindset, your brain is able to redirect quicker. Reframes the mind to see uncertainty as a ripe opportunity. Converts potential threats into, Tito's the name of my husband, I'm sorry. Converts potential threats into stepping stones for growth and progress. Oh, so bad. Okay. This resilient trait allows us to thrive in the face of adversity. So when the problem comes, remember, we're redirecting the lens, we're recalibrating quickly, we're re-strategizing, we're reinventing, we're reigniting, we're embracing movement, and we're not getting stuck. Yeah? Especially if you can remove the emotional part of the trauma out of it. I mean, you have to sit in it for about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. And then now, oh my God, I need to come up with something new. I'll just summarize that. There you go. The growth mindset is about continuous improvement. The positive mindset is about fueling resilience and always in gratitude. The entrepreneurial mindset cultivates innovation and strategic prowess. Challenge mindset enables you to redirect in times of uncertainty. Are we good? Is it working? I've only got a couple more. Your mind is everything, because we're talking about mindset. It's about your mind and how your mind is set and how you can move from a fixed to a growth. Let me go with ingredients first. When you're in a growth mindset, your self-confidence starts to go up because now you know better. You're more resilient. Change comes, you'll redirect. You have, therefore, then a sense of independence. You feel a little less woi, and you feel a little less wow. Yeah? You have empathy, you're more assertive about what you want, you're therefore more ambitious. You still keep to your integrity. Emotional intelligence, Mike will be speaking to that. Adaptability, key to the growth mindset, you must be able to adapt. And you've got more courage. And you know it's okay to do what you're doing, to change tact. It's when you know what you know, then the world is a little softer. It's when you think, oh my God, I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to be this. When I left Kenya, I was very ambitious. I left University of Nairobi, I started working with Mike, and then I joined Gillette International as a graduate trainee. I moved on to the advertising agency of Gillette, which was called McCann Erickson. That's my background, actually, communication and advertising. And then I knew I was going to be a phenomenal ad girl. We earn a lot of money very quickly. I bought a car, I think I was 24. They pay you, what's it called, housing allowance? You know, you had a budget, but you had to live out of home. You couldn't get the money if you couldn't show that you had a landlord and I don't know what. So I moved out quite early. I think it was early, maybe not. So I had a house, I had an apartment, I had a car, I had this fancy job, I had good money. I was very happy and I was very lucky also. But I took a gamble because I saw that Gillette ad in the newspaper, in The Nation. You know, when you're online these days, because you guys don't read papers, I don't either. When you're online and you see all those opportunities, please take them because they're real. They're real. I mean, you've got your CV on the ready. You've got a passport on the ready since you've been told, look for jobs outside. So, yeah, you've always got to assume that you can move. And you don't also have to live in Kenya all the time. You can take time out, do life wherever you wish, come back in. Even when you're married, no excuse. Even when you've got kids, no excuse. Ladies, we can come out. I came here to be a minister for 5 years, alone, no hubby, no kids. Society judged, relatives judged. But I have a growth mindset. I've got all these attributes. Me thinks. I just want to change. Change had to come. Relationships, this here I'm talking about your personal relationships, your love life, that is. Believe in your ability first before you believe in the other. Don't give your power to the other spouse. Are we clear? Gentlemen, doesn't matter how stunning the girl is, I promise you, if she's not in the growth mindset, she's going to waste your time. These are for those who are not married. And for those who are married, you wouldn't have married her if you didn't think she had a growth mindset. I've got to back up my girls. So believe in your ability first as the individual and then what you bring into that relationship. In a growth mindset in a relationship, you bounce back quickly from setbacks. Hubby lost his job. As spouses, we get fairly angst about that. And I'm using polite language. We get pretty ticked off. And now we panic. And we sometimes give our guys a very hard time. But bounce back quickly. Relationships, you should be able to stand. If you're really a solid partner in the relationship, whether they're in your life or not, you should be able to be strong. Yeah? For those who are already in relationships, pay attention. Focus here. You can stand on your own if it's not working for you. You don't have to endure. Kuvumilia, kiume, no need. You're always concerned about the other. You offer support to your partner. You communicate clearly. This is always the tricky one, communication in relationships, because emotions run high. And set goals and work towards them as a couple. Did you know? And I did not know. When I first got married, and I got married I got married on a Sunday afternoon. I left Kenya on the Monday. And I've pretty much been out, except when I came to be Waziri. And I remember, it's like maybe 2 months into the relationship, me and the hubby, we were not, I was like, man, is this the guy I fell in love with? I mean, I don't understand him. And I think he was thinking exactly the same about me. So you go and tell your GP, oh, it's not working. I don't know. GP tells you to go and see a counselor. You go see a counselor. But first, you're from Africa. So, of course, we don't see counselors. We endured each other for another 2 months with drama. Not real drama, just trying to settle into the relationship. And, yeah. And I didn't have a job. That could have been the issue. Yeah, and once boss doesn't have a job, it is not good. So we go and see the counselor, finally, growth mindset. And I remember the lady, really fantastic lady, telling us, day one, first meeting, what are your goals as a couple? I tell you, see, I'm from Kenya, like you guys. There are no goals. We are here to be married and to live a life. Apparently you need goals. If you don't have, you're supposed to create goals and work towards them. This is what we want to do as a family for education for our kids. So let's invest before we have them. This is what we want to do in terms of buying a house. This, you know, the way you treat your corporate world, apparently you're supposed to treat your relationships like that. Did you know? I can see grown married women here looking at me like, really? Yeah, apparently we're supposed to have goals and discuss, communicate with our spouses. Apparently it helps. I think it helps. Purpose. Clarity through communication. Be fiercely protective of your body. Yeah, this comes up because oftentimes when we talk about the growth mindset, we don't cover relationships. So I'm trying to weave both of them in. Look after your body. There was one of the A-Lite guys who was telling me how he used to be a huge guy before because he used to go to the gym and then he used to take supplements and he used to put on the extra weight. I don't know how it works for guys, yeah? So I guess you want more muscle and whatever. And then you stop. There's a season comes where you stop going to the gym. And then apparently that muscle now becomes fat and whatever. So he was telling it to me how he then shrunk to become the size that he is, and this was his original size. So it's always about looking after your body. When your temple is intact, your mind works better. If your body is not in sync with you, you've got health issues, etc., you can't work right, you can't think. So always look after your body fiercely. Do not tolerate unfair treatment in the office, favoritism, toxic environment. Seek professional support and development. Counselors are needed. Mental health counselors, even for work-related issues. That's a big thing out in Europe now. Head of people, instead of being called HR guys. They're dealing hugely on mental health issues in the office. It doesn't mean you're falling apart. It means you're not feeling your A game is tight. And then you go and these lovely HR people, now called heads of people, they then, their organizations have outsourced counselors and therapy, and that is very much part of creating the whole human. And be quick to make decisions, but consult to minimize damage. The word we want to travel life with, as I summarize, the word we want to travel life with is create. Always be in motion, always creating a new love, and even within that current love, creating new business, creating new thinking in the organizations, creating new views as a student, always create, always think different, yeah? Allow your mind movement and space, and it is okay. Intelligence uses knowledge to solve problems, which is what school teaches you. Creativity uses the unknown to discover possibilities. The species that survives are not the strongest, nor are they the most intelligent. Can we say the last line with me? The survivor? You've got it? Yeah, that's it. That's the growth mindset. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Okay?